Let me give you some examples. The dragonfly has 30,000 lenses in each eye, 30,000 of them. Now, for millions of years, the dragonfly existed with 30,000 lenses in each eye. What kind of intelligence told the dragonfly to stop evolving at 30,000? Imagine the little area, the small eye of the dragonfly, divided into 30,000 cones, and each cone is fitted with a perfectly shaped lens. Imagine that. Now, why did the dragonfly stop at 30,000? Why not a couple hundred more or a couple thousand more? Who told the dragonfly that this is enough evolution for your eye? How about the housefly? 4,000 lenses in each eye. The housefly has 4,000 lenses in each eye. Now, what kind of intelligence told the housefly to stop evolving the eye at 4,000 lenses? For millions of years, the fly had 4,000 lenses in each eye. Now, who told it to stop evolving? Why not go on to 5,000 lenses? The honeybee has 6,300 lenses in each eye. And again, we face the same question. And if you pursue that question, it will prove the existence of a super intelligent being that told these organisms to stop evolving their eyes at a certain number of lenses. So this is the irony of it. So, while evolution is proven to be correct by scientific research, the initiation of life or the origin of species is proven to be not probable. The probability is zero. And therefore it had to be created by a super intelligent creator. And we will discuss this matter and see the mathematical evidence supporting it before the end of this program. Let us look at some established facts that you and I have witnessed in the last few years. The first fact is that despite our tremendous scientific advances, these great achievements, not a single scientist, not a single researcher, not a single laboratory has succeeded in initiating life from inorganic, inanimate matter. They utterly failed in duplicating Charles Darwin's basic concept that life evolved from inanimate inorganic matter. What these scientists, what we succeeded in doing was to synthesize amino acids and proteins from oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and so on. This is the extent of our success in the lab. We could not produce life. Now, of course it is natural that we can make amino acids or proteins from oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and so on. After all, these are the ingredients that make up amino acids and proteins. It's no big deal that you create the circumstances for the ingredients to link up together and make up these chemicals. But these are dead chemicals, dead molecules of amino acids and proteins. And some people would say, these are the building blocks of life. Well, that is right. These are the building blocks. But this is the extent of it. Just that, building blocks. Now, if you take a bunch of building blocks, put them at the corner, and leave them there for thousands of years, will they assemble themselves into a building with the deliberate design? Of course not. So, as scientists, we succeeded in creating the building blocks, but we could not create the building. This is a very important fact. The debate between evolutionists and creationists was so hot and so emotional that some of my fellow scientists gave up their scientific objectivity, and I find myself forced to criticize fellow scientists for behaving like unscientific creationists. Let me give you a good example. It has to do with a booklet published by the National Academy of Sciences back in 1983. In that booklet they published a picture, one of their favorite pictures, the skulls of a number of hominids. And they concluded from that picture that the skull of the more advanced hominid evolved from the more primitive skull. That the advanced skull evolved from the primitive skull. Well, this is a perfectly valid and scientific conclusion. There's no problem with that. But the problem is that the Academy ignored an equally valid conclusion that these skulls, the animals that possessed these, or the creatures that possessed these skulls, simply existed independently, independent of each other, without any relationship whatsoever. Now, scientific objectivity dictates that we present both views, that the skulls evolved from each other and or the skulls existed independently of each other. This kind of abandoning scientific objectivity resulted from the high emotionalism and fanaticism on both sides of the evolution creation issue. But scientists should never abandon their objectivity. We will be in deep trouble if we abandon our objectivity. Nor we cannot say evolution is a fact and it is up to the rest of the world to prove otherwise. This is putting the cart before the horse. When we say that this evolution business is a theory, the burden of proof is on us to provide the evidence that evolution is a fact. It is our duty to establish evolution as a truth, not the other way around. To summarize, we all appreciate the power of mathematics as a pure science, the most scientific of all sciences. And we are all familiar with the simple formula of Einstein, E equals mc squared. And we are familiar with the tremendous consequences of such a simple formula. Mathematics is an objective and powerful tool that can tell us exactly what events in the world are probable and what events are not probable. We have been talking about DNA, the genes, 30 billion nucleotides in the human gene that interact with other life processes. We are not talking about a toy. You know, when you go to the toy store and buy a bunny rabbit, for example, it has ears and realistic eyes, but these eyes don't see. And this toy rabbit doesn't have any cells, or DNA or nucleotides that are arranged, or any life actions and reactions. We are assuming here that we are just talking about the simple arrangement of nucleotides in specific sequences and specific quantities. We are talking about just physical arrangement. The probability is, this infinitesimally small probability is multiplied by other infinitesimally small probabilities when you interact the nucleotides, the DNA, with other life processes in the cell and throughout the organism. Now we can use the same powerful tool to prove the alternative, namely creation. Now how in the world can anybody prove creation? Nobody could imagine anything that can prove creation. But you know something? About 100 years ago we could not envision TV or the telephone or communication satellites. But here we are. If you can see your great-grandfather today and describe the television to him, he will disagree with you. He will think you went crazy. So similarly, we could not imagine anything that will prove or disprove creation. But how about a coded message from outer space? Did you ever think about that? A coded message from outer space telling you, I am the creator and this is how I did it. A message that will give you all the details. Many of you are familiar with Carl Sagan's latest novel called Contact. In Contact, he presented a fictitious story about a coded message from outer space from some intelligent life out there, and the message was decoded by computers and so on. And you know something? This is not fictitious at all. I am here to tell you that we actually received a coded message, mathematically coded message, from the super intelligent creator, telling us exactly what happened, how the universe and the 6 million living organisms, 6 million species of living organisms in this universe, how they all came to be.